Out the door, the devil awakens. The upper echelons of New York society are built on a foundation of glittering lies, where the most rotten secrets are locked tightly behind heavy gold-plated doors. Inside, the palatial, multi-million-dollar estate of real estate tycoon Richard, a grotesque play is quietly taking the stage. The players, his staggeringly beautiful young wife Elena, and his arrogant, reckless son, Chris. It is high noon on a Friday. Richard, looking sharp and commanding in his tailored suit, grabs his leather briefcase, entirely unaware that stepping out that door means surrendering his castle to two vipers. He kisses Elena gently, instructing her to be good, and throws a stern warning to his son. Chris, don't cause trouble for your stepmother. Elena plays the part flawlessly. Her smile is saccharine sweet as her delicate fingers adjust his tie, wishing him a safe flight to Chicago. But just over Richard's shoulder, Chris leans against the marble wall. He flashes a dark, knowing smirk, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. Don't worry, Dad, Chris drawls, his eyes fixed on Elena with a predatory gleam. I'll take very good care of her. When the masks fall. The heavy iron gates of the estate haven't even fully closed behind Richard's gleaming black Rolls Royce before the fragile illusion of a happy family shatters into a million pieces. The moment the engine noise fades, the suffocating air of forbidden lust fills the cavernous living room. Elena doesn't waste a second. Her gentle, dutiful wife persona vanishes, replaced by a cold, calculating sneer. She glides toward the crystal minibar, pouring 2 glasses of wine as red as fresh blood. The old man is finally gone, she sighs, handing a glass to Chris. I'm so sick of playing the innocent virgin. Chris doesn't just take the glass. He steps into her space, his arms snaking around her waist, pulling her hips flush against his. He mocks his father's blindness, laughing at how Richard actually believes she loves his aging wrinkles rather than his limitless black credit card. Elena tips her head back, letting out a wicked, seductive laugh. She traces the line of his jaw. Doesn't matter, she whispers. Sooner or later, this entire empire will belong to you. And as for me, I am yours right now. Arrogance on the bed of sin. Pure, unadulterated temptation completely blinds their reason. A crystal glass tumbles to the plush wool rug, the red wine seeping into the fibers like a bloody omen, but they don't care. They stumble up the grand staircase, tearing at each other's clothes, finally crashing through the doors of Richard's own master bedroom. They throw themselves onto his expensive, imported silk sheets. Clapping in the dark. But they are absolute fools. What they don't realize is that the true master of the house, the real devil, never even left. Right as their treacherous affair reaches a fever pitch, a sharp, mechanical sound slices through the heavy breathing in the room. Beep. The electronic lock on the heavy oak door flashes from red to green. The door swings open, casting a long, terrifying shadow across the bed. Standing in the doorway, half swallowed by the darkness, is Richard. He doesn't yell. He doesn't rage. Instead, he slowly uncrosses his arms. Utter panic. The blood instantly drains from their faces. Elena and Chris freeze, paralyzed as if they've been doused in a bucket of liquid nitrogen. The arrogance evaporates in a split second, replaced by pure, naked terror. They frantically scramble backward, desperately clutching at the thin silk sheets to cover their shivering bodies. Elena's composure shatters. She bursts into hysterical, ugly tears, her voice trembling violently. Richard, why are you here? You were supposed to be on a plane. It's not what it looks like. Chris forced himself on me. Without missing a beat, Chris turns on her, his eyes wide with panic as he tries to save his own skin. Dad, don't listen to her. She drugged my drink. The bitch seduced me. It's the ultimate checkmate. The giant screen flares to life, illuminating the room. It's a live video conference. On the other end sit three stoic men in tailored suits, watching from a pristine law office. Richard hadn't just stayed one step ahead of these two rats. He had lapped them entirely. You set a trap for me, she wails. Not a trap, Richard corrects, staring at her with utter disgust. An audit of your loyalty. Elena, per the strict infidelity clause in our prenuptial agreement, you are officially evicted. You leave with nothing, not a single cent. Then, he slowly turns his gaze to Chris. The air in the room turns lethal. And you? The DNA results arrived on my desk last week. Your mother was a liar. You are no son of mine. As of this morning, your name is burned from my will, and every credit card you hold has been permanently declined. Outside, the bitter midnight winds of New York howl through the streets. The massive iron gates of the estate slam shut with a deafening clang. Elena and Chris are violently thrown onto the freezing pavement by towering security guards, shivering violently in nothing but their sheer, flimsy sleepwear. Elena desperately shakes the iron bars, sobbing for a mercy she doesn't deserve. Chris, trembling from the cold, glares at her with venomous hatred, cursing her name into the night. High above them, standing on the grand balcony, Richard looks down upon the wreckage of his enemies. He holds a crystal glass filled with that exact 50-year-old vintage wine. He takes a slow, savoring sip, raises his glass to the pathetic figures below, and smiles. Wishing you a long, miserable life of poverty together. Guards, release the hounds. Never ever try to outsmart a man who built an empire from the dirt up. Because the moment you think you are playing them, you realize you were never the player. You were just a disposable pawn on their chessboard. The smell of luxury. The air in The Gilded Lily was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and aged wagyu. Jessica adjusted her diamond earrings, checking her reflection in a gold-plated spoon. To her, the world was a ladder, and she was one step away from the top. The heavy oak doors creaked open. A man in a sweat-stained neon vest and scuffed work boots stepped onto the hand-woven Persian rug. It was Mark. He looked out of place, like a charcoal smudge on a white silk dress. He clutched a small plain cardboard box. "Excuse me," Mark said, his voice calm despite the glares from the elite diners. "I'm looking for a Miss Jessica Vance. I have a high priority delivery." Jessica didn't look at his face. She only saw the dirt on his fingernails. She recoiled as if he were a leper. "Ugh! Don't come any closer. Can't you see I'm wearing a $5,000 dress? Security! Why is this creature allowed inside?" "I just need a signature, ma'am," Mark replied, his eyes tracing the room with a strange, observant stillness. "This package is from Aerotech. It's confidential." The king of nothing. "Is there a problem here, babe?" Robert swaggered to the table, adjusting his cufflinks. He was the CEO of a mid-sized firm, desperate to break into the big leagues. He looked at Mark and let out a sharp, condescending bark of laughter. "A delivery boy? In here?" Robert pulled out a gold money clip, peeled off a single crumpled $1 bill, and let it flutter to the floor near Mark's dirty boots. "There you go, son. Take that, go buy yourself a bar of soap, and find a job that doesn't involve bothering your betters." The restaurant fell silent. Mark looked down at the dollar bill, then up at Robert. A faint, knowing smile played on his lips. "You know, Robert, money is a lot like sand. The harder you try to grab it, the faster it slips through your fingers." "Don't give me philosophy, you loser," Robert snapped, grabbing the box. "Get out before I have the police trespass you." The shattered illusion. Mark turned and walked out without a word. Jessica laughed, leaning into Robert's shoulder. "God, honey, you're so powerful. I love how you put those people in their place." "It's called status, Jessica." He wouldn't understand. Robert tore the box open. He expected a prototype, a contract, or perhaps a luxury watch from the billionaire he was trying to court, the mysterious Mark Kingston. Instead, his hands began to shake. Inside was a black envelope embossed with a gold seal and a single heavy card. Robert's face drained of color, turning a sickly shade of gray. "What is it?" Jessica asked, her voice rising. "Is it the contract?" It's a termination," Robert whispered. He read the note aloud, his voice cracking. "The partnership between Aerotech and your firm is hereby dissolved. I do not build empires with men who treat the backbone of this country like trash. You are blacklisted from every venture I own. MK, the undercover king." Suddenly, the restaurant's manager, who had been watching from afar, stepped forward. He wasn't looking at Robert. He was looking at the door. A black Rolls-Royce boat-tail, a $28 million car, pulled up to the curb. The man who stepped out was no longer wearing a neon vest. He wore a midnight blue charcoal suit, his hair swept back, his presence commanding the very air in the room. Two massive men in black suits followed him like shadows. It was Mark. The manager bowed so low his forehead nearly touched the floor. "Mr. Kingston, we are so sorry for the disturbance earlier. We had no idea you were conducting a personal audit. Jessica's eyes went wide. The delivery boy was the man she had been stalking on Instagram for months. The man worth $50 billion. The final reckoning. Jessica shoved Robert aside, nearly knocking him over. She sprinted toward Mark, her face twisting into a mask of fake adoration. "Mark, oh my God, what an incredible performance," she squealed, reaching for his arm. "I knew it was you. I was just playing along with the mean girl act for your social experiment. I'm a huge fan of your philanthropy. Why don't we sit down? I'll order the finest crystal." Mark stopped. He didn't pull away. He simply looked at her hand on his sleeve as if it were a stray piece of lint. "You didn't know me, Jessica," Mark said, his voice like ice. "You saw a man you thought was beneath you and you treated him like dirt. That wasn't a performance. That was your soul showing through the cracks." He turned to Robert, who was standing frozen by the table. "And you think a suit and a bank account make you a king? A king protects his people. He doesn't kick them. As of 5 minutes ago, I've purchased the debt on your company. You have 24 hours to vacate your office." The bitter end. The waiter approached the table, holding the bill for the bitter end. The waiter approached the table, holding the bill for the $2,000 appetizers they hadn't even finished. "Sir, your card was declined. Would you like to try another?" Robert looked at the tip he had thrown at Mark, the $1 bill lying on the floor. It was the only money he had left that would actually clear. Jessica looked at Mark, tears of frustration in her eyes. "You can't do this. You're a billionaire. You're supposed to be a gentleman." Mark paused at the door, looking back one last time. "A gentleman treats a janitor with the same respect he treats a CEO. You two? You're just well-dressed vultures." Narrator. As the Rolls-Royce pulled away, Jessica was left standing in the rain, a broken heel and a broken dream. She had spent her whole life digging for gold, only to realize she had buried herself alive in a hole of her own making. The moral: your wealth is not defined by what is in your bank account, but by how you treat those who can do absolutely nothing for you. Watch who you kick on your way up. You might just meet them on your way down. The penthouse on the 40th floor was silent, only the sound of classical jazz emanating from the in-wall speakers. Elara sat in a leather armchair, darkness enveloping her, revealing only her sharp eyes reflecting the city lights. In her hand was a glass of red wine, the liquid shimmering like blood with each slight turn of her wrist. The front door opened with a sharp click. Julian entered, bringing with him a blast of cold air from the hallway. He looked impeccably dressed in his custom-made suit. the smile of someone who had just won $1 million lawsuit still lingering on his lips. "Elara, why is the house so dark?" he asked, tossing his briefcase onto the sofa and loosening his tie. "I've made a reservation at the French restaurant. We have to go now or we'll miss our appointment." Elara didn't answer. She raised the glass to her lips, taking a small, slow sip, as if savoring the impending fear. "Do you smell anything, Julian?" she asked, her voice low and velvety. "A faint scent of roses, the cheap perfume your secretary uses, or perhaps the mistress you're hiding in apartment 4B 5th Avenue?" Julian froze. A moment of silence stretched on like an eternity. He forced a smile, trying to regain the composure of a top lawyer. "You're starting to imagine things again. That's the apartment of a client involved in a property dispute. The defendant and the witness. Client, Elara rose, walking slowly toward him. The sound of her high heels clicking on the wooden floor echoed steadily like the ticking of a death clock. "So, did that customer leave these diamond earrings in your jacket pocket?" She held out her hand. A pair of earrings sparkled in the dim yellow light. Julian swallowed, his throat dry. His deceitful instincts urged him to deny it, but Elara wouldn't give him the chance. She walked to the laundry room door and flung it open. Sarah emerged, cowering. She was wearing the cream-colored silk robe, a gift Julian had given Elara last year. Sarah's youthful face was smudged with mascara, her eyes red with fear. "Julian, she said you were in an accident." Sarah sobbed, looking at Julian reproachfully. "She picked me up. She said she knows everything." Julian looked at Sarah, then at Elara. His confidence had completely crumbled. The room now resembled an interrogation room. "Julian," Elara said, her voice now full of authority, "you always said in court, the truth doesn't matter. What matters is who tells the better story. Well, let me tell you my story." The Cruel Judgment. Elara picked up the tablet, her fingers gliding across it. "For the past 6 months, while you were busy working at luxury hotels, I was busy with numbers. Did you forget that I built the financial management system for your company? What are you planning to do?" Julian stepped closer, his voice beginning to tremble. "Don't do anything stupid. We're a power couple. If this scandal breaks out, we'll both lose everything." "No, only you will lose everything," Elara smiled, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I managed to transfer all our shared assets to trusts that you have no right to touch. And more importantly, she turned the tablet screen towards him. On it was an email sent 2 minutes ago. The recipients were the State Bar Council and all of his company's major partners. Attached were audio recordings, images, and evidence of Julian using company money to support his mistress. "Your career, your license, your honor, all will be in flames tomorrow morning when the press reports it, Ilara said, her voice so cold it sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. You're a devil, Julian roared, about to lunge at her, but stopped short when he saw Ilara pull out a phone that was on live stream mode. Hello everyone, Ilara said into the phone. This is my husband, the renowned lawyer Julian, who was just caught cheating in his own home. You see, even the smartest people make silly mistakes sometimes. End. The door slaps. Julian collapsed to the floor, his eyes vacant, staring into space. The empire he had painstakingly built with lies had crumbled in a single night. Sarah could only stand beside him, weeping, realizing she, too, was just a discarded plaything. Ilara, wearing a luxurious overcoat and carrying a handbag, looked at Julian one last time, not with hatred, but with utter contempt. The locksmith will be here in 5 minutes. Your belongings have been packed and left on the sidewalk downstairs. I hope Sarah has a place for you to sleep. She walked out the door, the sound of her heels fading away until they disappeared. The sound of the door slamming shut echoed dryly, like the final blow of the judge's gavel in court. Case closed. My lawyer husband thought he could hide his mistress in my own house. He forgot I taught him everything he knows. The gilded cage and the missing diamonds. The crystal chandeliers cast long, fractured shadows across the imported Italian marble floors of the Sterling estate in Beverly Hills. The lingering scent of expensive Tom Ford perfume and stale vintage champagne hung heavy in the air. The grand, opulent party had finally come to an end, but beneath the veneer of high society elegance, a deeply orchestrated symphony of malice was just tuning up. Suddenly, the cavernous living room was pierced by the shrill, hysterical voice of Margaret, the formidable matriarch who ruled the family with an iron, diamond-encrusted fist. She was frantically tearing through her quilted Chanel handbag, her face a mask of manufactured panic. Her prized possession, a limited edition, custom-made Cartier diamond bracelet, had vanished. And in the ruthless ecosystem of the Sterling family, objects of such immense value do not simply slip away into the night. In Margaret's elitist mind, there was only one person in the room desperate enough and poor enough to take it. The masterclass in malice. Moving with the terrifying, unblinking precision of a predator zeroing in on a wounded bird, Margaret bypassed the sweeping staircases and antique vases, marching straight toward Elena. Elena, the daughter-in-law, whose only crime was loving a wealthy man while carrying the original sin of a middle-class upbringing. Without uttering a single word of warning, Margaret lunged, her heavily manicured claws snatching Elena's modest wool coat from the back of a mahogany chair. With a theatrical gasp that could have won her a dozen Oscars, Margaret plunged her hand deep into the coat pocket and whipped out the dazzling cascade of diamonds. The stones caught the light, practically blinding everyone in the room. It was a flawless, devastating performance. Elena stood paralyzed, the air completely knocked from her lungs. She wasn't just witnessing a false accusation. She was watching her entire life, her reputation and her dignity being publicly slaughtered in a trap meticulously built by the woman who was supposed to be her family. The silence of a spineless man. When the world crashes down around a woman, she instinctively reaches out for the hand of the man who promised to stand by her in sickness and in health. Elena turned her tear-filled, desperate eyes toward David, the husband she had devoted 5 years of her life to, begging silently for him to be the shield she so desperately needed. But in that agonizing, breathless moment, the awful truth crystallized. David was a phantom, paralyzed by a lifetime of cowering beneath his mother's overbearing shadow. His spine simply dissolved. He couldn't even meet his wife's gaze. Instead, his face hardened into a mask of weak, misplaced rage. Siding with the woman who wrote his trust fund checks, David raised a trembling finger toward the heavy oak doors. He barked at Elena to get out, threatening to call the police. And just like that, with the chilling nighttime breeze sweeping into the foyer, Elena was cast out of the mansion, discarded like a piece of trash. The wrath of the Queen. The morning sun of the third day broke through the Beverly Hills fog, but it was nothing compared to the fiery storm about to hit the Sterling household. Without knocking, the heavy front doors swung open with a deafening crash. The oxygen in the grand foyer seemed to ignite. There stood Elena. Gone was the timid, eager-to-please girl in pastel cardigans. In her place stood a woman forged in fire, draped in a razor-sharp, power-red suit and dark designer sunglasses, moving with the terrifying, lethal grace of an apex predator. Margaret's haughty laughter choked in her throat, her delicate porcelain teacup slipping from her trembling fingers and shattering into 100 pieces across the marble floor. They had expected a broken beggar crawling on her knees. Instead, they were staring at a reigning queen, stepping back into the conquered territory, not to negotiate a peace treaty, but to watch the empire burn. The indisputable checkmate. Elena didn't waste her breath on shouting or trading insults with the pathetic duo. She let the undeniable truth do the screaming. Striding forward with terrifying confidence, she slammed a silver iPad onto the center of the glass coffee table. She hit play. The screen flickered, projecting a crystal clear black and white feed from the hidden bookshelf camera. There it was, the undeniable ugly truth displayed in high definition. The footage showed Margaret, utterly alone in the room, slyly removing her own Cartier bracelet from its velvet box, looking over her shoulder and deliberately burying it deep inside Elena's coat pocket. The grand, aristocratic illusion shattered into a million irreversible pieces. The Symphony of Freedom. The realization hit David like a physical blow to the stomach. The crushing weight of what he had done and who he had chosen finally registered in his vacant eyes. Desperate, pathetic, and suddenly terrified of losing her, he stumbled forward, stammering broken apologies, begging for just 5 minutes to talk, to fix it, to go back. But Elena just tilted her head and smiled, a cold, pitiless smile that offered zero salvation. Reaching into her sleek leather briefcase, she pulled out a thick, heavy stack of legal documents and slapped them with a resounding thud directly against David's chest. They were divorce papers, fully executed, already signed. Her eyes delivered the final fatal blow. Keep your millions and keep your monster of a mother. I am taking my dignity. With a final dismissive turn, Elena walked toward its open door. The rhythmic, sharp click-clack of her stilettos echoed through the dead silence of the mansion, a magnificent, triumphant symphony of a woman marching into her absolute freedom, leaving behind a broken boy, a disgraced matriarch, and a legacy in ruins. Never ever wake the sleeping demon inside a falsely accused woman.